What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay. This is Unplayable, and I'm here with Mike to talk to you guys about some of the, what's it called? Shadows of the Galaxy spoilers. You can edit that out, coach, or you can leave it in. So one, they spoiled a card on their social media, and then they also had a live stream today with some of the designers, Jamie Zvern and Ryan, to talk about all of the mechanics and showed off some cards. So let's just crack in straight into it. What do you think?
Yep. Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped to talk about these cards and the new mechanic that we haven't seen before.
Sweet. All right, so the first one from their social medias, Crosshair. It's a 4-cost unit in green villain. It's a Imperial Clone Trooper, 2 attack, 6 health. It has an action that costs 2. You don't have to tap it, and it's not once per phase, so you can do it as many times as you want. It gets +1, +0 for this phase, and then you can tap him, not pay anything, and this unit deals damage equal to his power to an enemy ground unit. That's kind of that. I mean, number one, that's a lot of stuff on there. Is this like the first thing that has 2 actions on it?
Ooh,
2 separate actions?
It might be. It might be.
I think it is. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. He's got a lot of traits, and obviously the art looks sick. But what do you think about this guy?
I think he's really cool. I guess first off, just the theme of it is really cool. You're sort of paying resources to like get a good aim on whoever you're going to hit, and then you're going to exhaust him and fire away. And that's a really cool concept for an ability for a, obviously the sniper of Bad Batch, after he's now, sort of not bad, but is following orders.
Yeah.
If you've watched Bad Batch, I really think this card's awesome.
I agree. I think like he fits right into my Tarkin deck, so I'm happy about that. Being able to give this dude an experience from Tarkin and then do it, it's pretty sick. I think he could be a kind of menace in terms of staying on the board and just controlling your opponent's units without ever like dying. I think that's kind of sick.
Yeah. It allows you to like control your opponent's units on like another axis that like didn't really exist before.
Exactly. It's like you play Veers, you give him an experience from Tarkin, and now he's doing 4 damage every time you tap him.
Yeah,
it's kind of sick.
Pretty big. Are there any other cool like synergies and stuff like that you can think of with this? Overwhelming Barrage is a pretty
oh, that's fair.
Pretty nice one. You kind of only want to do it if he's like already buffed a little bit, right? But I mean,
you don't have to. You're basically doing 4, and then you tap him to deal another 4.
Do another 4. Yeah.
Which I mean, you want to have Veers out there. You want to have Tarkin giving them experience and all that kind of stuff. But still, like, I don't know.
It's not bad.
I really want to try this in my Tarkin deck now.
It does not say non-leader ground unit too. So this guy can just like sit back and just wait for your opponent to drop their leader and surprise some people.
Sure. The +1 for 2 does feel like it's super slow.
Yeah. But,
so I don't know how often you're ever doing that.
If this is like your finisher in a control deck and you're just like, you got 12 resources or something out and you give him +6 attack and hit for 8 or something like that, that could be pretty cool.
Sick.
Yeah. I really like the design here.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next up we got a Cartel Turncoat. This is a 1-cost yellow hero space unit, 2/3 underworld vehicle fighter, and it has a bounty that says draw a card. So if you don't know what bounty means, basically when this unit is defeated or captured, your opponent collects its bounty, aka gets the benefit from whatever the bounty says, whatever comes after the keyword bounty. So we got a 1-cost 2/3
in space.
In space.
That's wild.
That's awesome. I want this card right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an aggro card if I've ever seen one in my entire life.
I really want this in Sabine Yellow or Cassian Red.
Yes.
To just like turn 1 Greedo and Cartel Turncoat.
Put 5 power on the board turn 1.
In separate arenas.
This is
so
nasty.
Sick.
I think this is also the first card that we've seen that has a bounty as like a downside to playing the card. Like you're playing the card with the bounty on it, which is a really cool design space. And I can't wait to see what else they do with that. But this card is nuts. The only thing that would make this card better would be if it had Rebel synergy.
That would be too good.
That would be insane.
It'd be way too good. So you almost, I guess you don't have to go outside of the Rebel synergy. You could still probably play that archetype and just cut I mean, you could cut Greedo and then just do like Leia plus this, or Spec Force Soldier plus this, or something like that,
Yeah.
and still have the Rebel synergy going on, because it at least is heroic for a cause, which is sweet.
And Red 3.
And Red 3. So I think you could still do it. It's just like he would be too good.
It also gets you closer to like building like oops all space sort of like aggro deck, where like you literally just play space units and
play
ignore
this
the ground entirely.
Red 3, X-Wing, Wing Leader, Falcon,
all the good
A-Wing,
stuff.
Azatook, gunship, strafing gunship, just go all space and see what happens. And then your opponent plays outmaneuver and you cry.
Yeah, and then you're sad.
Or bombing run.
Yeah. Hey, but before bombing run comes down, in theory, you've done quite a bit of damage with this. So,
Yeah.
But it's I love, like, it's just like, it's such it embodies the philosophy of like early game advantage, and like you're giving up sort of like your late game almost, because it's like, you know, making your opponent draw a card is worse for you the longer the game goes.
Yep.
But early, like, you don't care. You just want a 1-cost 2/3.
Exactly.
So
another cool thing about bounty, number one, is if you kill your own unit, you don't get the bounty, your opponent still gets it. In Twin Suns, if I have whoever kills it gets the bounty. If I play a bounty on someone else's unit, whoever kills that character gets the bounty, not me, which is really cool. So I can make other people want to attack your units by putting bounties on it, which is really sick. And then if you do kill your own unit, so say I end up like, I don't know, open fire and kill this guy on my own side, I get to choose who gets to draw the card. Some cool things. Cool things.
It opens up so much more room for like politicking and like the sort of back and forth between the players at the table of like, oh, I'll put this bounty on, you know, this player's unit, and, you know, or whatever. Or even better is like, I'll kill my own unit right now and give you the bounty for it if you do this for me.
Yeah.
Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for that. But I like this card. I like the artwork too. This will be a cool one in hyperspace.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is gonna be great in hyperspace.
And I like that ship from like X-Wing, so yeah.
Sick. All right.
Next up, we got the Vigilant Pursuit Craft. This is the Shadowcaster, as some may know it, which is whose ship, Mike?
Well, Ketsu Onyo.
And then
Asajj Ventress.
Yeah. Or who owns it first?
I think they each have different ships.
It's different ones. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's just the same.
Yeah, you're right.
It's either the same or similar model.
Okay, yeah. So this is a blue 5-cost space unit. It's 3/5 with Sentinel, and then it has Smuggle. You can pay 7 with the blue aspect. If you do, you get to play this from your resources, paying its smuggle cost, and replace it with the top card of your deck. So, Smuggle. We haven't talked about Smuggle before.
Yep.
The easiest way to kind of explain this is while a card with Smuggle is in your resource row, you can pay the number of resources that the Smuggle cost is. So in this case, it would be 7. And if you're not playing blue, then you'd have to pay the aspect penalty. And then you flip that card out of your resources and it comes in exhausted unless it says otherwise, because anything that comes into play always comes in exhausted. And then you replace that card in your resource row with the top card of your deck, and that also comes in exhausted because everything that comes into play comes in exhausted. You can use the card that you're playing via Smuggle as a resource for the cost. So if you have exactly 7 and this is in your resource row, you tap all 7, flip that card out, put 1 from the top of your deck into your resources. All of it's exhausted unless it says otherwise. So that's kind of the concept. The Smuggle, what do you think about it? Do you think it's pretty sick?
I do really enjoy that they're playing with the design space of the resource row. Like, it's a thing that makes Star Wars Unlimited unique, and so it's cool that it's a thing that they can tap into. So I'm excited to see what all these cards do. We'll see a couple later that do some pretty cool things with, like, you know, when you play this card with its Smuggle cost, like something happens, all that stuff. The only thing that I worry about is I'm pretty bad at remembering things in games, as many people may know. And so remembering that I actually have like a card that I can smuggle from my resources, and like having to look at them all the time. I already like am kind of OCD about like how my resource row is laid out. So I don't know. We'll see how that feels in person, but I do think it's a very cool mechanic.
Yeah, I think there's so much design space there, and I think they mentioned in the stream that this mechanic is some of all of the favorite, or all of the designers like favorite mechanic that they've done so far, which is cool to see. I do think it, like you said, it makes it feel unique. I think it's a pretty cool. I think this card's kind of trash though.
Yeah. What do you think about the card?
I'm not paying $7 for this.
No,
unless I have no other cards in hand.
Yeah. It's maybe a draft card.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe if you really need a space sentinel and you want to do literally nothing else on your turn.
It doesn't have very many like titles or whatever either.
Yeah.
So it's just vehicle and transport, and there's like nothing that really interacts with that.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting card in general.
Nope, not at all. All right, next up, Unexpected Escape. It's a 1-cost trick. Keep in mind, we got Jabba the Hutt.
We do got Jabba the Hutt.
Increases the cost of tricks.
And helps you find it.
I don't know if you're ever playing a blue-yellow deck in Villain, but
Thrawn.
If you're like me and you want to try blue Thrawn, you might play this card. Exhaust a unit. You may rescue a captured card guarded by that unit. And this is an uncommon. I really like the artwork. Kylo Ren is about to like go off on somebody.
He's very upset.
I mean, so if you play this for free with Java, I mean, obviously,
yeah, it's pretty
zero
nice.
cost exhaust unit. It's pretty sweet. It feels like it's kind of targeted, so to say. Maybe like
it's really narrow,
good, like draft fodder, because the set's themes are around capture.
Yeah,
and if the meta doesn't use capture very much, then you may not use this card in your deck.
Sure.
But I do think if you have a captured card, being able to pay 1 to exhaust a unit and capture it back, or at least free it, is probably pretty strong.
Yeah. Maybe this is just a sideboard card if like there's some deck that really wants to capture your units, and it's. I mean, like you can always just take out that unit, I guess, is like the flip side of things. And this just sort of turns it off for a round, and then they still have their unit. So I think I don't know. I like that it costs 1. Like I like that it's cheap. I like that it does something else. Like it also exhausts the unit, so it's still useful even in a scenario where you don't have a captured unit. But I don't know. I guess this is a hard one to evaluate in terms of its usefulness until we see like what capture looks like in its entirety.
Right. I agree. All right.
But the art is dope. Like I didn't expect that this would be like an art piece that they would use for a card like this, and I think it's really cool.
I do. I think the card looks really sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. Privateer Crew. A 2-cost green 2/2 underworld ground unit. It has Smuggle 6 with green. And when played using Smuggle, give 3 experience tokens to this unit. Whew. That's
interesting.
A lot.
Yeah. So this is a cool one where you get a benefit for using it with its smuggle ability. It's sort of a different card when you smuggle it versus when you just play it out of your hand. And I think that's super cool.
I do think that's cool. I don't think it's very good. I'm not paying 2 for a 2/2.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying 6 for a 5/5. Yeah, 5/5.
Yeah, probably not.
And then like if you get bamboozled, you just cry.
Oh yeah.
Paying 6 for this card.
It seems really inefficient. Like the flexibility is nice, but is that worth,
Seems like another draft card. Like this will be really good in draft.
It does. Mm-hmm. It's like a curve filler in draft, and you can kind of use it for whatever you want there. But yeah, I would agree. I don't think this is very good.
The concept of being able to be like flexible. I can play it for 2 now, or I could play it for 6 later for a bigger unit.
Yeah.
It's cool. I just don't think it's good.
I agree. Now this card.
This card. 1 cost, Timely Intervention. It's an event in green. It's a tactic. It says play a unit from your hand. Give it ambush for this phase. You can smuggle it for 2 in green. Who's on the art in this?
That's Embo.
Embo and Java in the background, or is that just an opening?
Oh yeah, I think that might be a
hologram.
Java? Maybe of Java.
That's pretty cool.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically ECL on a stick, and one that you could play from your resources.
From your resource row. That's pretty nuts. This card is, I feel like this is the card that people are going to get the most excited about right now of the cards that have been spoiled. And I don't know, like what are the cool things that you can do with this?
I mean, arguably it's better than ECL because it can be any, like it's not any 6 card. Or less.
But you have to pay extra for it.
You do have to pay the extra. But I think playing it from your resource row is where it gets like kind of crazy. Is because you can resource this early, and then you get to 10 resources and a crazy control deck or something.
Yeah.
And then you flip out Reinforcement Walker and heal for 6 or something like that.
You have to be at 10 at that point in the game, but like 10 resources, but that would be sick.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's definitely the card with the most possibilities. And the card that you're going to have to reevaluate every single set, because there might be a card that pairs with this to make it even crazier.
Yeah.
You also have to think, like, even if you're just using this from hand, like, is ambush worth 1 resource and a card? I think a lot of the time the answer might be yes.
I think so too, actually. It's card disadvantage, but I think you gain a lot of value with ambush, as we've seen with ECL.
Yeah.
Like, even if you just play a Star Viper with this, healing 5 and killing an A-Wing, seems really good.
Yeah, that could be good.
I mean, it's all the same plays as ECL, right?
Sure.
It's just gaining board advantage in a time your opponent doesn't expect you to be able to, or it's disadvantage for your opponent. So,
yeah.
and card advantage in this game hasn't been like crazy. So sometimes it feels like it's okay to play a card like this.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, playing this from your resource row is probably where you want to be, because then you're not losing the card from your hand. You're paying the extra, but like, imagine a world where there's like a 3 cost, like 4/1, which we have, right? You have like the ship that, like, when if you have initiative, when it dies, you draw 2 cards.
Yep.
Like, paying 5 for that to deal
Scout.
4, draw 2 cards seems actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this guy's sick.
I agree. Is that the last one? Oh no.
Yep.
One more.
We got one more.
1 cost upgrade in red, Hotshot DL44 Blaster, also known as the heavy DL44 Blaster from Star Wars Destiny, attached to a non-vehicle unit. Smuggle 3, but it has a yellow aspect for the smuggle cost.
Yeah, this is sweet.
When played using smuggle, attack with attached unit, and it gives +2/+0 as an item weapon. So if you're playing just all red, like double red, if you want to smuggle this, it's going to cost 3 +2 because you don't have yellow in your deck. If you're playing all yellow, this just costs 3 because you're playing it for the smuggle cost, for those to explain it at home. And then it has a when played using smuggle, which is cool, and it's attack with the attached unit. So paying 3 to swing with something at +2, this is a pretty cool card.
Definitely. Probably my favorite thing about this card is that, you know, the DL44 is known as being Han's Blaster, and this card is really good with the big Han, because, you know, maybe your opponent has Luke out and it has 7 health, and you have Han out and they think that they're safe. You pop this on from your resource row, and all of a sudden their unit is gone.
Just like that. Yeah, it's a rare too, which I think is the only rare we saw today.
I think so too. I do like, even just as a one cost, give something +2 attack. Like, that could come in handy if your opponent's like sort of done with what they need to do for the round, and you feel like you're able to push a little bit of extra damage in some kind of aggro deck. Like, that still feels strong, and then even more so if you have the resources available to do it from your resource row and save the action.
I actually arguably think it could potentially be better as a 1 cost. Like, if you compare paying 3 for this to something like Wing Leader gives you the +2/+2 and a unit on board, whereas this is like +2 surprise attack, but you can also
more like
just
Fleet Lieutenant, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just like another way to pay 3 and get 2 extra damage immediately. Right. I don't know. I think it depends on the situation.
You get Fleet Lieutenant, you get a 3/3 on board.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. If you're comparing the two, maybe. This also doesn't care about your unit being a rebel.
True. Yeah. I need to try it out, see how it is. I'm always very down on upgrades. I don't know why. It just feels bad.
You've gotten 2 for 1 too many times.
Yeah.
But if you're playing this with Smuggle, at least you're getting 2 damage out of it no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's all the cards.
All right, that's it.
And then that's everything, all of the rules explained. If you have any questions regarding the rules for these mechanics, feel free to leave a comment and we'll try to answer them. If you have any insight, crazy cool combos that we are just not seeing with some of these cards, please let us know.
Yeah, I love seeing all that stuff in the comments.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.